but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Welcome back, and it has been quite an afternoon. We look forward to visiting with a number of you to get some reaction, and Logan is up next in North Carolina. Hello, Logan.
Hi, Paul, my friend. How are you doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a Black Tuesday, I guess. I guess we had called it for a while now. Big pretend threw in the towel. And I don't want to make it sound like I don't care about the players, because I definitely do, but I just feel like there's something disingenuous about this whole thing with the Big Ten. I think they had this planned out from the start. And the whole thing about the spring season, that's such a cop-out. Nobody wants to see a spring season. At least I don't want to. I don't understand how that's an option. And the Big 12, of course, or Pac-12, sorry, they're tied to the hip, so they're gonna say the same thing. But I just think, I hope that the other three conferences keep trying. I think it's really premature to stop trying right now. I don't know what kind of medical advice they're getting, but unfortunately, it just seems like they made that choice too soon. And I don't know if it was because they were starting to practice next week. I don't know if you have any insight in that, why they would call the season off at this point.
Well, remember something. Right now, based on what I'm reading, 53 of 130 FBS programs have shut down. So let's, in fairness, not blame only the Big Ten. I think it was easy to see they were going to shut down. You could read between the lines in their commissioner's comments, even when they announced the schedule and how they were going to deal with it over a month ago. He showed no confidence. What's also interesting is everyone is really saying the same thing, although they're having different results. Logan, the ACC just issued a statement. I mean, everyone's statement happy, I guess, today. And essentially they say we're going to make decisions based on medical advice. Their medical director came out today and said it's okay to play. So what does that mean?
Yeah, I saw that. He said that we've learned enough now that we could possibly play. I think, Paul, I just don't see it happening unless they can keep the student athletes maybe doing online classes.
And by the way, I hate to interrupt. As their statement was released, Greg Sankey issued another statement. Let me read this if you don't mind, Logan. I look forward to learning more about the factors that led to the Big Ten and Pac-12 leadership to take these actions. I remain comfortable with the thorough and deliberate approach that the SEC and our 14 members are taking to support a healthy environment for our student athletes. We will continue to further refine our policies and protocols for a safe return to sports as we monitor developments around COVID in a continued effort to support, educate, and care for our student athletes. One thing he did not say is we're going to play. I think it's interesting to measure these statements. The fact that they are both almost simultaneously reacting to the Big Ten and the Pac-12. The one person we have not heard from is Bowlesby. We Herbstreit indicated that there's going to be conversations tonight. Even though everyone is on their own, and Logan, I've heard reports that this is a who can outlast the other, it becomes more difficult when two are gone now. You cannot lose sight of that. I know you were alluding to that when I broke in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would look really bad if something really were to happen to anyone in those three conferences, and like a coach or even a player that got sick. So I mean, I know they think they're taking the high ground, which, like I said, it could be the right thing to do. I just think it might be a little premature.
Yeah.
I would like to know what went into the
Logan, I have to run here. We're at the end of the hour, but that is the game right now, is who can hold on the longest. We will be back with another hour after this.
Hey race fans, Marty Smith here. Is there a hometown original hero in your hometown who's gone above and beyond in serving your local community during this year's pandemic? If so, Smithfield wants to help you honor them. Share their stories and feature their names on the Smithfield number 10 race car later this year at Martinsville. So whether your hero is a nurse, EMT, police officer, or grocery store worker, nominate them at SmithfieldHometownHeroes.com and upload a 1-minute video that tells their story. Contest ends September 13th, 2020. No purchase necessary.
Today, pros have to do whatever it takes. The Home Depot is here to make that easier. We've got the products you know and trust on our app, delivery options to get what you need exactly where you need it, and a delivery tracker that keeps you up to date on the status of your order, so you can keep doing what you do best, whatever it takes to get the job done. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
For your Gulf Coast Sports Minute, I'm JP. Now halfway through their 2020 schedule, the historic Five Flags Speedway has done a great job bringing some local racing to our area. Well, that continues again on Friday night as it's $5 admission night and, more importantly, Demolition Derby night. Along with the Derby, the Outlaws return as well as the Truck Series and Pure Stock, so come on out to the Speedway on Friday for a great night of racing. In our recruiting spotlight this week, Ryan Worley for the West Florida Jags. We all know the Panhandle is by far the least recruited area of the state, and that's why it's important to watch a lineman like Ryan. Very athletic, whistle-to-whistle kind of player who is so much fun to watch on running plays. It's not unusual to find him 30 yards up the field chasing plays, which is something that college coaches just love to see. He is a solid pass blocker with great feet, strength, and knowledge of playing the position. This is someone who will definitely be getting some major attention before the year's up. And you know Coach Summerford and the Jags have no shortage of talent, so you are not going to want to miss these guys on Friday night. That's your Gulf Coast Sports Minute. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies, and rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, for a man age 45 non-tobacco user, it's $1 million of coverage at $75 per month, level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Hey, what's up? Chad here from the Sports Drive. Well, 2020 was off to a great start.
Salute.
UWF National Title Parades and Mardi Gras.
Come on, let the good time roll.
Coach O and the real Tiger King Joe Burrow winning a national title.
Go Tigers.
And the Blue Wahoo season about to start. But then Tom Brady, after 2 decades of success, decides to mess with history.
You are fake news. Go ahead.
And becomes a Buccaneer. Oh, what was that? Oh, COVID-19 happened. I'm sorry.
I can't take it no more.
And it was a little bit of a rough spring and summer.
It's something that won't go away.
But now the major sports are back. The bubbles are working. The league's in the bubble. Don't have your kids blow them. Some might see those as viral mucus balls coming at their house.
No more.
No more. No more.
Scary, isn't it? And football will return.
Foosball.
Maybe not all of our favorite teams, but there will be football this fall.
Gotta keep our composure.
But we'd like to thank all of our listeners through these challenging times for staying with us as your hometown leader in sports, right here on ESPN Pensacola. Thank you, and stay safe, my friends.
Hi, it's Flint Lockwood here in Swallow Falls. My friends and I have just discovered some amazing living foodimals, but we've also discovered an urgent matter that needs our help. According to my calculations, 1 in 5 kids in America struggles with hunger. Our latest mission is to help solve hunger by teaming up with the Feeding America Network to get food to kids facing hunger in communities across the country.
Help Flint and the Feeding America Network of food banks get food to the people who need it in your community. Find your local Feeding America food bank at feedingamerica.org/hunger.
Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Well, it's true not to eat ice cream with orange juice, but on a sports note, we'll get to Pac-12 football and the Big Ten canceling their season. We'll get to more on ACC doctors saying, look, we're ready to go. Trevor Lawrence is the man.
Emmett Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Pass across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Both been beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
Welcome into the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Why does somebody have to send me that right before the show's about to start? I'm watching a video right now of Urban Meyer. It looked like he, a little Tom Coughlin going on with the cheeks. A little rosy there. But did you see that half-naked man walking in during his interview in the background? This takes Mike Vrabel's draft to a whole new level here. But he was not too pleased with this one. So that was just getting set to be right before the start of the show. Welcome in, as we always do, on a positive note here. Joining me as well, we have never started a show on the same note Urban Meyer just dealt with, and I would like to keep it that way. JP, what's happening?
I'm fully clothed.
And once again, that's how we will keep it here for the show.
I'm going to go ahead and put this out there.
No. We
D?
just said fully clothed. We're not putting anything out there.
Oh,
okay.
This is happening. Jeffrey D., if you're listening, he was big in swaying my decision on this. I just want to put this out there for everybody with the Pac-12 making their decision along with the Big Ten. I am denouncing my Oregon fandom this year, and I will be joining Gainesville, Florida, right there, University of Florida, as a Gator fan this year.
Oh, you've seen a little football. Gainesville in you.
Go! Let's go, Kyle Trask. Bring it home, baby. Bring it home.
All right, congratulations right there. Now you officially are the second best team in the state. So, good job right there. Congratulations.
Who?
You can answer that.
Now
for yourself,
you're about to get the razzing of your lifetime.
Listen, you know what? I've got a shirt that
you guys
says,
want hazard pay, and the nurses don't even get hazard pay. Get out of here.
Right now, Florida's a better team. Just based on straight having to break down the games, Florida's a better football team. We had them for a while, though.
As long as Dan Mullen's there, they will be a better football team.
When we had Mackenzie Milton, and now I guess your team had Felipe Franks, that spread, I would have given you a couple touchdowns in that one.
Now that you got Dan Mullen there, that's the difference. That's where I think Florida will be the best team for a while.
All right, Pac-12 football. Let's give you something to cheer about right here, as they've decided to cancel their league. That affects some of us out here, but I think we saw that coming. You know, in that movie, you always pick that character that's going to get eaten right away, or one of those horror movies where everybody goes to a certain room, and if you survive the night, you get the reward or you get to survive. We all know who's going down. It's usually that prick that walks in, makes a couple comments like, yeah, he's getting it. Once in a while, you get the Samuel L. Jackson story where he's in the middle of a nice conversation and a shark just jumps out of the water, and you know what?
You just hit him
rips
with a
his,
prick.
No, not him. I'm saying most of the time it is that. But for the group for the Pac-12, we knew if there was a league that was about to go out first when it came to the Power Five, we expected them.
The left coast.
The Big Ten, that wasn't shocking, but it was a little bit surprising because, as we talked about yesterday, the power of the Big Ten and the SEC. But right now, there's a lot of questions, and then nothing like starting up the spring football league in October. That makes perfect sense. But there's a guy out there right now knocking on doors, handing out pamphlets to the kids. He's not doing any of this, by the way. Shouldn't be doing that today. You still answer the door if you see someone doing that, by the way?
I'll answer the door anyway, whether it was COVID-19 or not.
Where you live, that would be very awkward.
Yeah.
But, yeah. The days of handing out pamphlets are
I'll answer the door with one thing in my hand.
Around here, you see a lot less of that. Like growing up in a beach town where it wasn't that many up north in Boston, other places, like people walk, they sell vegetables. Like some guy tried to sell a whole thing of marinara one time. It's like, that's a good sauce. I'm like, I don't know what's in there. I don't know if you're trying to get rid of evidence right now. So I'm going to go ahead and walk this way. Is that a finger in there? But when it comes down to in Florida, a little bit different here in the South. Not too many people walking your property for good reasons. The Big Ten, though, when they made that decision, it's changed a lot. But I think most of the people understand that what we have around here, people are staying to pretty much what we expected them to say. Now, we're going to let our doctors and everything play itself out. And I think we need to look at the details. Our job here is to give what we have, not to just go out there guns a-blazing and telling you what we want in our heart. Because if that was the case, we would both clearly say football. I mean, we want football back.
Money.
Big Ten people want football. Kirk Herbstreit was on the show, Paul Feinbaum, a few minutes ago, and he was saying that, look, his kids play for Clemson. He does not fear that they're going to get sick. He understands 18 to 21-year-old kids right now, and that most of them are going to be okay. Most of the players that are getting it are asymptomatic. But he also understands that the fear, if it is one or two, as we've said from day one, the liability is the issue here. Is that if one or two players do get it, got severely ill, and God forbid somebody passed, the liability right now for one of these leagues, the schools, they don't want to touch it right now. They're already going to be losing money for testing and not being able to have fans in the stand at full capacity, or maybe no capacity at all. And JP, it once again comes down to what this whole country comes down to. Is liability, comes down to being able to do something without other factors playing a role. Because a lot of these people making that decision, they would play football, and the doctors would advise that if there wasn't any agendas being set. And I think we know that by now in America. If you don't know that by now in America, well, welcome to our country. Welcome here. Probably can't get in right now, but welcome.
I want to know, though, this is my thing, is so when we're talking about playing, all these people demand answers of, okay, well, how? What's the plan? How? What are we doing? Well, you're talking about playing. Why? Well, what can you do? And so people demand all that, and I'm not saying this in a negative sense, but why aren't we? You say, well, we just don't really know enough right now. Okay, but my question to counter that, or my statement to counter that is, well, you released a schedule like a week ago. Well, what changed here in the few days? Like, that made you change your mind? I understand pushing forward, but you're releasing that schedule. You understand what that means. All right, let's get ready to play football. But what is the difference? I mean, how they demand answers on, okay, what is your plan? I want to demand. I mean, it doesn't matter. No, they don't. They don't owe me anything. But I want to know why you didn't. Don't just say, well, we just don't know enough. About what? Let's go through this. Explain. Let's lay this out. I don't care if it takes an hour. I want to see what they see. I want to know what they know because I want to be educated. And for me to sit back and say, okay, well, this is weird because the SEC and the ACC, and people can say, yeah, that's because it's the South and they're going to play football. Okay. But also the SEC and the ACC understand if, God forbid, a player gets this and passes away, what this is going to do. They understand the risks involved with this. So if your doctor is saying this and my doctor is saying that, and then their doctor over here in the Pac-12 is saying this, why are we not in agreement? Like, where is the difference in this? Where is I can do this but you can't? Like, that's what I want to know right now from the Big Ten. We're hearing from the doctors from the ACC and the SEC say, yeah, we can. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna cost a little money, but this is what we can do. And laying this out there. Okay, cool, gotcha. Whatever. But what is the difference between their plan and then the Big Ten and the Pac-12's plan? I'm not even counting the Pac-12. That is, if you don't believe politics are involved in that, you're fooling yourself. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Not going to say politics as much for the Big Ten. But who knows? I have no idea. But that's what I'm saying in this. Like, people demand answers of, well, how are you going to play? I listened to Feinbaum say, well, we're not hearing any plan from these guys. But yet this happens, and everybody's like, all right, they're not going to play. Okay, why is nobody saying why? Why is the difference? Okay, you're saying because you don't know enough. What don't you know enough about? Let's go into detail. Because their plan says they can play. Where does their plan end and yours begin where it's different? That's all I want to know right now.
You know, the one thing that is getting brought up, and you can weigh in 850-623-1330. You can also text in on our Sports Drive text line at 850-623-1330. You know, I think we're taking a big step when people are talking about having fans in the South come to 20, even 50% capacity at some places. Texas came out as early as last week and said, we expect to be about 50%. Now, I don't know if they're going to still do that, but last week they said we're going to be at about 50%. Now, that would be about 50,000 people. There's a lot of stadiums around the country that don't get 50,000 people. And you have leagues that say, for the safety reasons, we cannot have a football season. But if you bring 50,000 people in, guess what you need? You need parking lot attendants. You need the people making sure to scan the tickets. I almost said rip the tickets. I haven't seen one of those outside of a carnival in a long time. It's all scanners these days. Beep. You know when those guys, like, doesn't go off, they have to double scan you, and it's clearly your ticket? You're like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Not that guy. If you're trying to scam the scanner, you're going to be in a world full of trouble. But when it comes down to what's going on right now with the NFL compared to college football, a lot of these leagues are not going to even play this fall. And then you have other leagues that are saying, we're going to be at 50,000. That, to me, is a huge jump. I think most people would say, if they had a compromise, let's just have football. College football, the passion of being there is one thing, but let's just have football. 850-623-1330. Caller, who's this?
Yeah, this is Chris.
Hey, Chris, how's it going today?
Hey, not bad, man. Just trying to make a comment on what's going on with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten.
Yeah, go ahead.
Me personally, with the way the coronavirus is going and then these students running out doing their own thing, canceling the season, I believe, is just going to put the kids more at risk. I mean, without having to be at practices and everything else, they don't have anything better to do but to run the streets whenever they're not in classes. Plus, they have the contact with the students anyway. So if they're going to get the coronavirus, they're going to get it. That goes for any of us out here. I mean, even with the precautions we're taking now, I mean, we still got thousands of people a day getting it. So I think the safest environment, just like they're showing with the NBA, keep everybody together on the team, you know, privatize the dorms for them or a hotel, whatever you have to do. Run the season and let everybody enjoy themselves and get away from all the stress and everything we've been going through for the last several months.
Well, you're right. And everything you said, most people that think it through would agree with you. The one thing it's just like everything. It's okay to say COVID-19 is completely real, but people have political agendas that they'd like to push towards November. If anybody's like, what? Did he just say that on air? Is this guy crazy? Is it? No, because you can see there are things.
You are crazy, though.
I am a little crazy, but overall, people need to understand you can say one thing and believe something else, and you're okay to believe that. You don't have to be opposite. I feel like in this country, JP and I are like that. We're in it for humanity in sports right now. We're not picking a side. This isn't about politics. That's why we got a news radio station below us. It does a great job. We talk sports. I don't like talking Michael Vick dogfighting or all the Jerry Sandusky nonsense. We got in it because we love the game. We want to see these kids to be able to enjoy their lives and play. But one thing we do know, Trevor Lawrence, Nick Saban, guys that had nothing to gain for coming out and saying, my teammates, my players, they feel right now, and we believe in our hearts, that they're more in a safe environment right here where they're protected, they're tested every single week to make sure they're okay. They're around other people that know that they don't want to jeopardize a season, because if they go out all about town and go meet with their girlfriends and hang out at that kegger, that they might come back and guess what? Then the league is canceled, and they just let down their team, and they don't want to be that guy. Not to say somebody's not going to do that, but, Chris, what we do know, if they go home, this is not going to be one of those where you're grounded for 4 months in your room. People are going to be out in the streets partying. They're going to be getting into drugs. They're going to be going to bad neighborhoods, which a lot of kids that grow up and play college football come from bad neighborhoods. And they're also going to be really ticked off, because they just lost their scholarship. They might have just lost their hope, like Joe Burrow even said. If this happened in 2019, he might be selling Kias. He might be doing something different. Think about that. So all these guys that are sitting there, they're not going to be happy, and they're going to go find other things to do, and then they're going to come back home. And in this case, we got to understand that.
Exactly. And not only that, but, like we were saying, going out, getting into everything and being around it all, we could be looking at, if it goes to a possible spring league, going from a 5-month jump to possibly even longer, wait until next season altogether.
Chris, it is. And we don't know if you push it to the spring if it's going to be better. And these half the kids, the best players, why we watch it for the entertainment value and the monetary value. Who's to say those guys don't go to the pros like the Trevor Lawrences and the Justin Fields?
Exactly. I mean, there's only a select few that are going to go. And give the kids their opportunity, let them have fun, let us get away from the stress, and, do the best that the schools can with their medical facilities and everything else to keep these kids safe.
Chris, what's your team while we have you on?
Well, I'm a Gator fan, and I hate to see us not possibly get a championship this year.
Well, that is true. Kyle Trask was just, with Dan Mullen, they were learning the offense, being able to use a guy like Emory Jones. But I feel for you today, not just because of everything going on in college football, but JP, my co-host, now has become a bandwagoner with you today because his Oregon Ducks aren't playing. So I apologize for that.
Hey, I'm glad to have JP on the team. Maybe he'll stay with the orange and blue.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, I'm here. I'm a lifer now. Let's do it.
Listen, you take the high road. If your team's not going to play, claim a national title like mine did. Okay, you know what? Don't take the high road here. Come on now. Chris, have a good one, buddy.
All right, man. Great talking to you.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear to see right now, and guys that can get in more trouble for what they say. If you've listened to the show, last 10 years of doing shows in the afternoon, you know right now that we are pretty much going to say it how it is and don't mind saying something even if it offends or to a point. I mean, we're not going to say it to offend, but we're going to speak the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts people's feelings. But there is right now the liability factor of why people don't want college football, because if a kid gets sick, then the liability and the lawsuits that might come towards that league. Let's go to the phone lines, 850-623-1330. Caller, who's this?
Oh, they're gone.
All right. Well, that means we can.
Here's the thing: is you're hearing. I mean, Urban Meyer even saying no chance. What about the possibility of a spring football season? I mean, this is pushing it back to the spring. Here's my thing. This is my opinion, and my opinion only. Maybe it does work. Maybe it doesn't. I don't think there's going to be a spring season. I don't. I really don't, because there's so much more that's involved with this. Not to mention, you're talking about. We talk about the safety of the players, but yet you're going to make them play 2 seasons in a calendar year? Like when you're talking about like only a few months apart, That's why is this not being brought up? And then you're talking about starting in January. Okay,
that's the
we
worst
can talk
time,
about
man.
starting when it's freezing cold. Like there's so many things you can counter with. That's where I look at this and I go, okay, so if you're going to start in the spring, you're going to play a couple months, and you're going to play another season after that. Well, no, because we'll start in January. Okay, you're going to start in January when it's the coldest out there. Okay, that doesn't make any sense because you guys have been saying, well, that when it gets cold, this is not going to be any better because of everything going on with sickness and, everybody gets the flu. And so that's where I want to make this clear. I want safety of everybody, and I have no dog in this fight. I am just a fan like everybody else out there listening right now. But what I'm saying, people, is just because I'm calling them out on, okay, you're going to move to the spring, how does that change things? Oh, well, we may have a vaccine. Okay. I mean, is that it? Is that the only thing? I mean, because it's not going to take away the myocarditis. It's not going to take, that was the thing yesterday. That, by the way, that had been up. Everybody had known about that for months now.
Yeah, I did.
But all of a sudden, that pops up. Well, myocarditis. Okay, well, we're going to live with COVID. We are. It's here to stay, like the flu and everything else. I'm not comparing it to the flu. What I am saying is like these other sicknesses and colds and stuff, it's here. It's here now. It's not going to go away. So if a player has myocarditis or gets myocarditis, should we just cancel football? Can we just cancel sports? Because what happens if it's a Major League Baseball player gets it and goes out there and plays? Like, that's what I'm saying in this. So I understand taking precautions, but once again, I go back to the whole thing of, well, if your doctor said you can't play and their doctor said they can play, where is the disconnect in this? Because aren't we all getting the same information when you're talking about doctors and things like that?
Yeah.
And Greg Sankey came out and basically said, look, I'm interested to find out what caused them, where the differences were. I'm with you. I'm with you, Commissioner Sankey. I mean, I don't know. And then you play in the spring, go ahead and count it, buddy. I'm sorry. There'll be a couple maybe that play when you're talking about superstars now. But Trevor Lawrence and those guys, I'm sorry, and maybe I'm wrong on this. You'd be a fool to play in the spring.
That's why I'm glad that people that like to have logic aren't there, because they first off would be kicked out of the room. But we would be sitting there, and the first question I would ask, I'd get everybody in the room, and I'd say, okay, let me talk to the medical experts, because I think we're all clear if they have no agenda to push and they believe in humanity and what is right, if we have all of the Power 5 medical experts in this room and I start asking them some kind questions, very easy questions to answer, you would think, can we get those answers? Can everybody? Oh. And then they answer. Okay, here's the first question, everybody. We're on this panel. ACC doctor, Dr. Cameron Wolf, doctor for the Pac-12, who's don't care for your name right now. Guys, why did you completely feel like we're in different viewpoints over something that is a virus that affects people, whether you go to Clemson or you go to Oregon, the same from the human body of people 18 to 23 years old? Why is an expert, you say that we shouldn't have football, and you say that we could have football and there is no reason we can't? Experts, take it away, please. Everybody, clap for them. Okay, there we go. Here, they're about to answer that. Oh, what was that? Okay, I'm getting word. They're pleading the fifth. They're pleading the fifth. They're not going to say a word to us. Okay. So, everybody, for 2 seconds, if you don't understand that if you're an expert in saying that, if you're a mom and you say, kids, don't play around the street, there's cars, and then the lady next door says, oh, no, I work on cars. Kids, run out in the street, blindfolded. It doesn't make anybody an expert just because they're saying another thing that you're saying. So I don't know right now. Personally, that's what the confusing part is. The more we read and the more you don't assess for yourself and you look for the right stories and try to do it yourself, you're going to get more confused. I've made a judgment myself, and so has JP, not from Nick Saban, not from Trevor Lawrence, that there is risk involved. But at the same time, I believe they can play. They need leadership. And they also need to find a way right now to believe that accountability. That's something right now, this is a huge life lesson for a lot of these kids. You got kids in the prime of their life. Man, I had 5 good years in, my dad wanted to pay for 4, but 5 good years in college. And guess what? There was a lot of nights I look back I would not do now. My body could not take that. But a lot of times going out and partying and doing the things we love in college, these kids are sacrificing a lot of that. because they're doing it for their team, and the accountability to know they don't want to be that guy to come back and have it spread like wildfire and be that guy, like the Miami Marlins found out in baseball, that disappointed a lot of players. Miggy Rojas was leading the league, 7 for 10. JP, it's just we'll continue this conversation. I want to get back. We got to take a break, but when we come back, we'll get to more on what's going on after the Pac-12 and the ACC making the announcement that they heard the Pac-12 and Big Ten. My apologies. That's pretty important to get the right conferences in this. Have canceled their league. The ACC, the Big 12, and the SEC will. Right now, they're holding on, and I hope they do. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
For your ridiculous facts, I'm JP. Hall of Fame pitcher Nolan Ryan has one grossly dedicated fan out there. According to ESPN, at one point, a jockstrap he wore while pitching his 7th no-hitter sold for an unbelievable $25,000. Some things are better left unsaid. And 49ers legend Steve Young is great-great-great-grandson of Brigham Young of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, for whom BYU is named after. That's your ridiculous facts. I'm JP.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly Dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Who's ready for the ultimate check-in contest? Throughout the entire month of August, 200 South is running a check-in contest across all the 200 South brands. That's right, World of Beer, Taco Agave, Blunt, and Graffiti Pizza, all included. Someone's going to win big. Plus, the best part is every person gets free prizes just for participating. Why wouldn't you want to play? Stop by any of the 200 South destinations all throughout August to participate and win. Get the contest details at 200southpalafox.com.
As a truck driver, what's at the top of your mind right now? Running enough miles? Having more home time? Driving for a company that provides peace of mind? Schneider was founded during the Great Depression, and over 85 years later, we continue to have work, so drivers can count on consistent paychecks to provide for themselves and for their families. Schneider remains loaded and moving while hiring more drivers and adding new customers each day. Take control of your career and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Dan gets so mad that there isn't one dissenting voice.
It's not even that much of a risk, Mike. It's a 6.5.
Stugotz does that all the time. He doesn't get any credit for it.
I know, but no one with credibility dares risk it because they all just want to put stars up next to their name and pick the most obvious possible thing.
Thanks, Dan. The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, 9 till noon, weekdays on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Happy Tuesday, everybody out there. You know the power of football, though? because we have 3 sports right now going on, and the NBA is playing with 0 positive tests. They've done a great job. I think NBA from day one, Adam Silver, it's way too early in the game, and he looks like the polar opposite of a guy that probably hooped it up in his day. Gosh, in the post, you could probably knock him around, Nosferatu. But one thing I'll say about Adam Silver, there's some people that you listen to him and you say, man, that guy's spot on. Like what you hear him and what he says, and frankly, I don't care where the guy came from, what city, what his political background. Remember, my family's from Boston originally. It's the biggest Democratic area in the world. So when I make comments like I want football back, or oh, that was a cool Trump boat parade, everyone's like, this guy pushing a label. Have you seen what I look like? Do I look like that kind of guy? Please. I just say it how it is. So does JP. That's why we have fun here. But the one thing we do know is that when a lot of times people say something, they don't back it or they don't truly believe it. Skip Bayless. People will push a certain agenda. Adam Silver has done an incredible job from day one. He's answered tough questions. He was the one out of all the leagues that dealt directly with a situation where we, as we still should, not forget what was happening down at the graffiti bridge, not the 15,000th car that was an idiot that didn't see the max 9'6" and they crushed their roof on that U-Haul they ran in. Not that guy, but the peaceful protest down there. We should not forget, just because that wasn't a flavor of a couple weeks and then move on. I hope there's some change that we need desperately in this country long term. And most people, I think, get it and understand it and would do anything to help anybody, a brother in need, anybody that is out there of any skin color, any race. I hope people today are like that. I pray for humanity. I pray for Leighton and her daughter. I pray for your rabbits, that they grow up in that same environment. I just have to say, though, that we do understand, JP, that one thing with this country is the NBA is probably the toughest of all the leagues to be able to, during that time, to get them to go play basketball when many people were saying, hey, no, look, Avery Bradley's, many of them said, we're staying home. We're not doing this at this time. And they bubbled up in Disney. Some people called it Motel 6. They did an incredible job from day one. The NHL and the NBA, spot on. It can work. And the MLS and even Major League Baseball, to me, if we had to give out awards right now, I think Major League Baseball has done a phenomenal job since their debacle. I know that sentence you have to read into that and go, but they didn't know how to actually get the league going. They did a horrible job of that. Rob Manfred could actually have gone out there and done it himself a long time ago. He had that decision and that power. It's like asking your kid after you ground them, be like, do you think you should be grounded? I mean, I know you broke out of the house and you went to that part. Do you think you should be? Your sister, too. I know she stole my car.
With the pay, the money and all that?
With the season itself. Rob Manfred had the rights to get the contract of saying, we're playing 60 games. This is what you're going to get paid.
Yeah, but you don't want to jump out to that. You want to give everybody an opportunity.
They did, though, I'm talking about after, like, meeting number 7.
Because remember,
I'm not talking the first time.
Okay, but we're not done with this, by the way. Because now we're in position for a lockout. Remember that. Yeah. So that's why Manfred. Look, you go back. The players kind of got screwed the last time this whole thing was done before. You got to go back and do the homework on it. You look at it. These guys kind of got ran over. I understand where the players are coming from. I understand where the owners are coming from.
I know you're a big Blake Snell guy, but I'm just joking.
All right, let's get this rolling. You want to do this?
He's with the old man. I got to get paid. That's what he pretty much threw out there. Like that's
for Manfred. He tried his best and exhausted every opportunity he could to get that done. We thought they were going to get it done, and he didn't. But I think overall, MLB has done a better job than everybody.
Okay,
because they have no bubble. Like these guys are traveling. And so you're putting all the responsibility. See, for the NBA.
And they have rosters 4 times the size.
There's
of the other
no
rosters.
responsibility for these NBA players. Think about it. Because if you leave, they have people watching. Security everywhere at every entrance and exit and everything. So you're done. Like you're going to have to quarantine. That's it. For MLB, these guys can technically go out and about. Like you look at what's his name? Plesac. And now we found out Clevenger was right there with him. It was in the meeting with the freaking – yeah, that's what happens. He was in the meeting.
Oh, my gosh.
sitting there trying to stick up for Plesac and didn't tell anybody that he was out with him. That is a selfish, unbelievable act by Clevenger.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. And for people that are like, well, he's a human being. He wants to go out on the town. No, you signed up to do this. You're getting paid money to do this. And you knew what you signed up for when you did this. And the fact that he went in there and could have infected his whole entire team after going out on the town, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that.
At least wear one of those Chinese bat suits. Remember the ones at the beginning?
That is appalling to me that this is not getting more coverage. I mean, we're hearing it a little bit, but Clevenger, and hats off to the Indians, by the way, when they found out about Plesac, boom,
perfect.
He's got to be. We're sending him in a car,
and he was one of their. And he, by the way, was off to an incredible start. He was off to a
their
Cy
pitching
Young
staff
type
is the
start.
best in baseball right
So
now.
when people are like, it'd have been a lot easier for them to be like, well, what's his ERA? 6.7. Get him off the team. Get him out of here. They did the right thing. Look, all the leagues are handling this serious. They have people that are doing the right things. But one thing also with baseball, remember, if you want to break it down by the numbers, their rosters are 4 times the size. So based on that alone, it's like 120 teams that they're doing without the bubble. Now, from a college football standpoint, if they took some time, the biggest underlying factor of college football, because everybody goes back to the safety. Well, guess what? In the NFL, people take more things that are bad for their heart, which, by the way, as somebody that can speak on behalf of going to 5 cardiologist appointments for myocarditis, I wish I did not have to say this. I wish you did not have to take me that night until 2 a.m. as a good friend and sitting there through tests with needles and everything going through. But guess what? I can tell you that NFL players, the ephedra and the things that they're on, much better chance of getting a serious heart condition. Number 2, these NFL players are older. They go out drinking more. They have a life where they're not. Somebody telling them what to do, they go, last time I checked, my contract says, read right here. You see this where it says $100 million guaranteed? and then they just go, well, he's sort of right. He can do that. He's going to get paid that money. So the NFL has so much more when it comes to underlying factors outside of one thing. It's college. It's the college kids. They go out there, they party, they're in the prime of their careers. They don't all have homes they go to and the things with their families. But ultimately, with both of those stories, because what I just created in that story, and it's sort of how my brain works every day, is I created where you could pick both sides and make cases for both. Now, the reason I did that is to get to this point. It's about accountability. All of this is about being accountable. Everything you do is about being accountable. Me going to a restaurant today, meeting with 6 clients, going downtown to I-10, down to Scenic, going to a golf course to meet with somebody. Didn't get to play. I would like to. But everywhere I've gone today, meeting and talking to people, wearing masks, social distancing, talking to them from a distance, giving fist bumps or shakas, the things that we do, whether you go to Publix, Home Depot, we have to make these trips. Home Depot doesn't judge any differently than somebody right now having a beer from the same distance from the guy you're getting lumber from.
They didn't like my jorts.
But people need to understand right now that everybody is accountable for your decisions that you make. And I think we're understanding of it. If you go to one of these big boat parades or you're out there partying and you're swimming in the water out there, as many people have done social distancing, good for you. You're enjoying some sun, getting some rays. I'm not seeing a lot of people getting sick in July from a bunch of sneezing and coughing like we did when we were in quarantine. They pretty much ISO'd us out here for a reason in January. And so the experts are telling us, let's go play in January. In a month that we all know, if we look back in our lives, we've all felt terrible. Our kids have felt terrible. Nobody wants to be in the same house together in January. And right now, they're doing this because of one thing with liability. But there are teams, even in that league, like Jim Harbaugh, that are saying, guys, we showed up, 13 tests were positive when we got there. Out of 863 we took. By the next round, 435 tests, 2 positive tests. 2 weeks later, 363 tests, 0 positive tests, and that has been happening for 8 weeks. If that was a stock market, wouldn't you buy? Wouldn't you buy that? You'd be stupid not to. So why are we not believing that you can buy into these teams showing the leadership and accountability to play the season? And the second they screw up, whether it's the SEC, the Big Ten, the Westminster Dog Show, your kids' Little League, the second they screw up, then the league's going to get canceled. Chaps is going to go back to his cage, and it's over. So all of us saying this, it comes down to accountability and making it happen. And the second a team messes up, their season is going to be done. But I believe that they can do it. I believe these kids, when they've proven it with numbers like Michigan is showing. Let's believe in people a little again. I know it's hard. Reading this right here, looking at this, never going to believe anybody ever again going online. But let's start believing in people again, because the kids are trying to prove that to us. And we've never seen that. Kirk Herbstreit, never in his life has he said, he's been around more locker rooms than anybody ever will. We've gotten to compete at some pretty cool places. But Kirk Herbstreit can go wherever he wants in college football. And he has more to lose than anything, pretty much in his job. That's what he does, him and Chris Fowler. Game day. They're telling you, he said, I've never seen ever in sports, and he played in the Big Ten for Ohio State, the coaches and the athletes revolting against their conference. The commercials that they're on, Big Ten football, Pac-12, they're doing their thing. But the coaches, everybody came out and was like, no, not everybody, but most of them came out, the big dogs. Jim Harbaugh, Ryan Day, James Franklin, Scott Frost, they came out and they said, we want to play football. We don't agree with what they're saying. Who wants to take us? We want to play, and we believe our kids can do that. Nobody does that for the business that pays them handsomely. Jim Harbaugh makes $7.5 million to not be good right now as a head coach at Michigan. And he's telling his presidents, his chancellors, his bosses, you guys are completely wrong. We can do this. Think about that. Let that soak in, because they're not doing it because it gains benefit for them. They're doing this because they truly believe that these kids and they'll be safe. And the coaches that are saying this have more to lose just based on that they're older and that they're way more receptive for being around those kids that might test positive.
And the thing is you people want to talk about, well, these owners and these presidents and all this stuff, they want money. That's why they're going to play. And hats off to the Big Ten. Look, Big Ten, you made your decision. Okay. I know Nebraska and some of these other teams are still trying to find a way to play this fall, and I hope they can. I hope they can find a way that they can wiggle out of some of these contracts they have, because there are some deals, some contract deals where they can lose some TV money and things, which is big money for these guys. And but regardless of that, for the people that are talking about that, understand these players right now are not getting paid. Remember that. That was a big deal.
Spring League, baby.
And so with these players not getting paid, yet we're seeing guys like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, all these guys, Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, they came out and made their statements. These guys are going to be drafted. They're going to be drafted, make big money in the NFL. If anything, it's better for them not to play. Yeah. Let's remember that. But they want to play. Those guys have nothing to lose. Kyle Trask is trying to put himself in that, obviously, probably first or second round type thing. And I get that, and he probably will get there because he's a hell of a quarterback. He has really shown.
He was a heck of a quarterback. Now you're a Gator. You're a Gator this week, and he's a hell of a quarterback. I'm just saying.
Archived. Go check it out.
I'm just
kidding.
I've
been on the Gators for a while.
Remember, with the Trask, this is your. I talk forever. This is your time.
But the thing is,
I took Trask over Franks.
The money. Well, that's like a moldy strawberry compared to a nice red strawberry.
I was the original man on the hill.
Anyway,
I was the original man on the hill.
Get him out of here. I had to mute his mic. Okay, but once again, all right, you're back on.
No, you can do that.
Stay in your corner.
Okay. Thank you.
With that being said, I just want to remind people that these guys, if anything, by playing, put so much at risk. And not only with injury, but with the virus and all this other stuff that you could get and everything that could happen. But with that being said, they want to play football. And once again, I say this because I respect what the coaches, I respect what the players say, when everybody that's involved with that. Because me, when it comes down to it, I do this, I talk about this, but I am a general fan like everybody else. I have nothing in this. I'm not there. I'm not putting those pads on. I'm not out coaching these kids day in and day out. I've been in a situation like that on both sides of it. I understand what it takes, and I can't imagine how hard it is for some of these guys to go through these protocols for these kids, especially when you're talking about high schools as well. It's a nightmare, but these guys want to do it. They want to push through it. with everything against the grain here, they come out and say, we want to play. Even when they're trying to get paid and they understand right now they're probably not going to get paid. They still come out and say, we want to play. People take notice of that because, like Coach K said, you had 4 coaches in the Big Ten that came out and made statements that they wanted to play football. He goes, that would be treason. That would never, ever happen anywhere else. Going against what your conference is saying to do like that, it's unbelievable. What's going on right now in college football, even with the Big Ten canceling, the Pac-12 doing their thing over there, this is monumental. This is a movement that may spark something that we may be seeing big-time change in the next couple years.
When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. And if people talked about the semantics of getting a bubble to work, the word bubble, remember, real bubbles are flying mucus balls that were scaring neighbors. They did. Some lady said, don't blow those. And we had all the colors in the back. Crazy. But when it comes down to the bubble itself, just in the Big Ten alone, in the Pac-12, I did some research, and, well, sometimes when you dig in, get numbers, people get more ticked off. And we'll tell you why when we return right here. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
On today's episode of America's Least Wanted, the home invaders most likely to threaten your family are not human. Cockroaches can spread salmonella and trigger asthma attacks. Termites destroy billions of dollars in property each year. And stinging insects send 500,000 people to emergency rooms. Learn how to protect your family. Arm yourself with the facts at pestworld.org.
A public service announcement from the National Pest Management Association.
Are you ready to kickstart your career or maybe make a change in your current career? Georgetown Technical College offers short-term, hands-on programs that equip you with industry-recognized certifications in fields that offer jobs right here in the Pensacola area. And starting on August 24th, Georgetown Technical College is offering face-to-face instruction. To learn about all the programs, costs, and schedules, visit georgetowncollege.edu. That's georgetowncollege.edu.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-285-4954. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-285-4954. 800-285-4954.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
You can watch Chad on the Sports Drive live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM. Simulcast each every day on Blab TV across the South. We appreciate you tuning in. Nick Saban's got 6 national titles. He is in his late 60s now, and he also came out and said, I believe it is the best thing for all these kids to be here, not to go back home, to be here. They're safer in this environment to play football. Remember, Nick Saban lives and breathes football, and guys like that, we've seen the stories of Bear Bryant and Joe Paterno and people passing once they got away from the game. Bobby Bowden was a guy that was doing book signings and man of faith, but he also, remember, they had to push Bobby out of the stadium that Bobby built, the place Bobby built when it came to Florida State football. He didn't take over for another legend. He was the legend from day one. the Burt Reynoldses and all. But when it comes down to Nick Saban, he wants to be around football. But remember, he's also in his high 60s, and to be around football, if it was so detrimental, which it is serious for him, he needs to take this serious. But if he didn't believe that the kids could do it, the safer route for him is to go home to his 70, 80 million he's made in his life. I've watched him drive down places like in Destin, Florida, with the black SUVs, watching, marking, and just go out there and be there. So when guys like that, JP, say that, it makes total sense. But I want to flip the script here, and I know we want to get to some baseball talk here, as Houston and the Oakland A's did everything possible not to follow the protocol. No masks and full-out brawls. No social distancing. But apparently the coach that made the comment, getting a pretty hefty load right there. That's almost half of the season left.
Yeah,
20 games.
And good riddance. I'm interested. I want to see what the Astros say about this because Alex Cintron, former major leaguer, not a superstar. Let's call it what it is. Not that it matters, but he's on the staff there with Houston. And if you saw the video by now, which I'm sure you did. If you didn't, you can YouTube it or Google it or whatever you want to do. What is Apple's thing? What is that? I mean,
I don't know.
Whatever Apple search thing it is, I don't know what everybody has. Anyway, you can find the video
People
out
still
there.
do Safari?
Safari, that's what it is. There you go. But regardless, you can...
I hate seeing that compass.
Or DuckDuckGo it. There you go. Good DuckDuckGo.
How many people have seen the compass when there was no internet?
Yeah,
get that out of here. Get
Alex Cintron got 20 games, and Ramon Laureano, obviously, who was plunked 3 times in that series, twice in that day, had enough. I find it funny he was trying to teach the pitcher how to throw a slider. I can't agree with him because his slider backed up a couple times, but not just in that one pitch, but a couple pitches earlier.
He's a tough cookie, too.
Ramon Laureano,
he plays.
And remember, Ramon Laureano was drafted by the Astros and traded to the A's, and the pitcher that hit him that last time was the guy that he was traded for.
Yeah.
So, obviously you play your former team and you're facing the guy that you got traded for. Yeah, a little bit of blood there. That's just natural, a competitor. But regardless, Ramon Laureano, I'm not obviously getting him out of this because he did charge the dugout. He was barking too. But with that, you can see that when Alex Cintron is sitting there like trying to shoo him or trying to bark at him and then, Ramon Laureano's waving him away. He's like, yeah, just hush, just get out of here. And he keeps on, and then Alex Cintron does the waving at himself like, bring it on, come get me. And Ramon Laureano is like, throws his little pad, throws his helmet, and says, all right, and starts charging him. So Alex Cintron says, well, I didn't say anything about his mother, but I regret my actions were inappropriate. We know that, but what did you say? Like, my thing is, what did you say then? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what it's going to be interesting. But Houston, of course, Houston is late to the party in making a statement about this. They cheated in getting signs, and they took them a while until basically everybody forced them.
Well, they were looking for the trash can, how many bangs to get out there and fight. I mean, where are we supposed to go?
And remember, Houston, that sad little publicity stunt of getting those guys up on a stage and apologizing where they all had a tear in their eye.
Yeah, they had a forklift. It was only a 3-foot stage, but Altuve had to get forklift up.
Yeah, they had to send a rope down.
The crane. He borrowed Booger McFarland's.
They get a ladder up there. But anyway, that being said, Ramon Laureano has obviously appealed. He probably will get 4 games when it's all said and done, 3 or 4, depending on when he talks to the league about what was said. But Alex Cintron, get him out of there. Like, if you're the Astros right now, you got enough crap going on. Your start to your season has been horrendous. The A's are just running away with the division already. You can't afford to be behind the 8 ball before this is all said and done. So they need to just get him out of there, figure out what the heck they're going to do. They have had so many injuries, it's been bad enough.
Well, and people need to understand that. It's pretty obvious. We were both pitchers. You were good in college. I was not. But we both played at a level that was pretty high. And when it comes down to baseball, we both understand this. It's pretty simple in baseball. You have to have some key heavy hitters. You have to have a Pete Alonso if your lineup doesn't have a lot of sluggers. But your starting rotation, if you've got a lights-out starting rotation, you're always going to be there. Oakland and the Tampa Bay and Oakland have pretty much, their lineups are bare minimum. They're at the bottom. They're like 27th, 28th in the league when it comes to paying people. But they have a bunch of young aces that are 6'5", 240 and throw the ball 98 to 100 miles per hour. And they continue to be in the conversation every year. The Houston Astros, What's the shocking news alert of why this year they're different than last year? Let me see. Justin Verlander hasn't pitched since his first start and getting hurt, and Garrett Cole was pretty good. You take two of the aces and Cy Youngs out of the picture, and a team now is 7-9. With them, they'd probably be sitting here 11-5 and in a different boat. So it's that simple. It's not magic, people. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use ClosetBox instead? ClosetBox is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. ClosetBox's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. ClosetBox's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. ClosetBox has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Are you craving something unusual and exciting? A new adventure? Visit the Adventure Gurus at Adventure Motorsports of Northwest Florida. From commuters and daily drivers to long-haul tourers and off-road explorers, they'll match you to the perfect ride with a proven process that gets you on the road quickly, cost-effectively, and safely. Adventure Motorsports is an authorized dealer for BMW, Indian, Ducati, Suzuki motorcycles, as well as Polaris, Slingshot. Find your adventure at Adventure Motorsports of Northwest Florida. Visit AdventureMotorsportsNWF.com.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, 557. Still some sunlight out there, but if you're looking to get off work, and no, it's not.
We're under a severe thunderstorm.
Are we under
warning.
a severe? This is what happens. Every show we've done, now we had a set at Blab TV that was always beautiful. Beautiful skyline. I know we have limitations to skylines, but it was a beautiful skyline and never rained on set. You know what I'm saying? You were on the set, you know that? Never rained. But when it comes down to the places we worked, we're always sheltered in the middle, where we have no clue. So apparently no. So disregard that.
There's a pretty good strong
good
line
chance of
coming
not
through here.
But I want to get this in anyway. Tiger Point Golf Club, for any other day that's sunny, they have great twilight rates, $29. You also can get out there and kids play free with a paying adult. Trey and the good folks out there do an awesome job. Rick Wolf and talking to them this week, our proud sponsors of the PGA Championship. Military, always giving back with discounts, and you can earn points from Troon Golf, which is the #1 golf marketing and when it comes to management group of golf courses. They've changed that place around. They've done an incredible job.
You can get a bite to eat when it's raining,
Sunset
right?
Grill, the Southern cuisine right there.
Storm coming through, you're having a
That's
bite
right.
to eat.
So great place out there, and they do an awesome job out there in Gulf Breeze. It's not far, whether you're taking the Avalon or anywhere you're going. You can get there.
The
Avalon, I'm calling it right there. The $5 death toll. That's what
don't
I call
do
it.
that.
And go ahead and just enjoy a nice round out there. Tiger Point. That's where I'd like to be social distancing. Urban Meyer was social. It looks like on a yacht out there with the guy. If you didn't see this video, it's pretty cool. It's not really cool. It's not really cool at all for anybody in the party. But he's on somewhere. He's on a yacht or somewhere, and there's a guy clearly that doesn't have any clothes on behind him in the middle of this interview, and he's like waving him. He's like, "Get out of here! Get out of here!" He's trying to talk about the league. What do you think? What would Urban Meyer do in this case right now? He doesn't have to answer these questions.
He'd do what Ryan Day did.
He's on a yacht
Back
right
his
now.
players. He wants to play. As long as his team's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's hard to not back your players. the grind and everything. Like Ryan Day, his statement, he came out and he said, "This is what they've told me. My job is to tell you guys and voice that." Hats off. I mean, now we're seeing players go after people. Hey, I'm all for it.
I know you're just upset you don't get to see Chip Kelly in UCLA this year.
Go Gators.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, we'll get to more on the Pac-12 and Big Ten's decision to cancel fall sports. Tomorrow, UWF, 9 a.m., will make their decision on fall sports. And as the home of UWF football, we'll be listening in.
Emmett Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
Welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. Chad Brillante, JP on the other side of the glass. Cam Walker, Clemson University, will join us coming up here in the next segment to talk some sports here locally, including UWF football. They will make the announcement tomorrow at 9 a.m. for fall sports. And I don't know. It doesn't look great.
I'll say I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
I mean, we talk to Coach Shinnick quite often,
and he would probably have a good inkling on what's going to happen.
He obviously wants to play like everybody else. He's heartbroken that they canceled the championships, and he talked to us before last week on Coach K's show, and basically just said it's hard to find a feasible way to do this, and that's just the reality of it. And it's you're talking about Division I's canceling. With money issues.
Let me stop you there.
Like
Feasible means money to some people if they don't. I'm making that clear. So
yeah,
I'm just you gotta explain it to people these days.
But we'll see. I don't think it's gonna happen, especially with no championships. God, it's so hard. And I really do for Coach Shinnick. Coach Shinnick says he feels for the players. He's heartbroken for the players. I am too, absolutely. But I'm heartbroken for that staff as well and what he's built there. Because these guys were on a roll, and I'm sure they're going to continue to be on a roll. We're going to get through this. That's the thing. It stinks right now, and it's okay.
You've been telling us that for 4 months. I've listened to your ad right there. We're going to get through this here.
You said thank goodness, by the way, on your thing. Thank goodness this didn't happen during football season.
Oh, yeah.
Look, it is heartbreaking for those guys because of what coming off a national championship, getting those. What about those Division I transfers as well? What about all these guys that put in this hard work? That's where, when we look at this, folks, some people want to be like happy that things are canceled, understand, look at it from an athlete's perspective. And if you've never been an athlete before, that's okay. You don't have to be an athlete to be a sports fan, obviously. Heck, some of the greatest sports fans are those who weren't athletes. But understand and ask these guys and look at these guys with the time and the effort and everything that goes in this. This is not just stepping on a football field for 60 minutes and playing football. This is something that, playing. This is a year-round thing. For these athletes, even more so at playing at the highest levels of college football and going and trying to have aspirations to play at the highest level in the NFL, no matter if it's in the NFL, MLB, whatever it is, these high school athletes put in so much work. That's what's disheartening to me. That's why I hope we have a high school season. Not just football, but volleyball and soccer, because these guys do train year-round. There's so much involved in this, and obviously – we want it to be safe, but for these people that are just like, it's canceled, yeah, shame on you. Shame on you. If you've worked at a job for 20 years, imagine just taking all that away. Just think about all the hard work you've put in, the long hours, for nothing.
And we've gone down this path that people don't understand this by now, but what has been reported with when teams get 17, like even Derek Jeter, when he was making the comment, probably signing another lady's autograph ball. Well, he's married now, but out of Derek Jeter, he made it clear. He was like, yeah, our players just weren't accountable at that time. They haven't been accountable winning me any rings either. But the 21 overall players and coaches had come down with COVID-19. Now, what he quickly swiped in there was, well, none of them were seriously ill at all. They most of them were asymptomatic, and we moved on. Like that, I hope that is still the key, is whether it's 1 or it's 2,000 people. I'd rather have 2,000 people asymptomatic if they were going home to isolate, not going to spread it. I'm making that clear. But I'd rather have 2,000 human beings that were asymptomatic and going home to isolate than one person who gets it and is deathly ill. Can we at least agree with that? I hope we understand that. So what we need to also understand is what has been lost, what nobody wants to talk about because it doesn't fit the agenda that's being pushed. I'm sure I'll get an email from corporate up here one day and they'll be like, hey, guys, that Pensacola station that keeps saying this, we have a certain thing we're pushing here. Have you not watched Max Kellerman? But what we're doing right now is
we can do it.
Exactly. What we need to understand with all of this is that 6,800 people between Europe and the United States in professional sports, including the different divisions for teams like Manchester, teams in Bundesliga soccer, all these different leagues, 6,800 have come back, and not one has been seriously ill. Now, they might have had a sore throat. Heck, I went to the emergency room at 35 years old for myocarditis, which they're talking about. And I'm back here doing shows, cutting down on all these that people are like, dude, don't go back to the energy drinks. Don't do this. I'm trying to take the safety precautions. Still got a 4-year-old. I want to be there. I got the coolest daughter in the world. Awesome family. Cool wife. I don't want to be going back to the hospital or dying. That's not on my agenda. So when they came out with that story, I can tell these kids, if you feel like you're having heart pressure, it's pushing against your ribs, like you can't move, you're cramping up, like that day that you had to rush me down there, then stop. Then go ahead and do that. But that's going to be a very, 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 very small group because I'm the only one that I know, and probably talk to more people in this area. The only two people I know that talk to more people, probably Marty Stanovich on an everyday basis. He knows everybody in this town. But when it comes down to going out and seeing people and doing that kind of stuff, I talk to all these people, and I know nobody else that's got this outside of me. I have a heart, no pun intended, for those 5 people that are right now they're dealing with this in the Big Ten and others. But those people need to be careful when they get it. They need to be real careful because it's real serious. But the rest of the people can move on. And what we forgot in the mix is kids die in car crashes, kids die from ephedra, kids die. UCF had 2 kids die on the field. Remember they did the outside the lines report that George O'Leary, who was a mean SOB, but pushing them around a little bit too hard on those practices in 96-degree weather outside. No joke, first day of practice, my roommate was Matt Prater, the kicker now for the Lions. Matt goes out there, substance abuse thing, but he went out there and I was like, what's the buckets for in the middle? Big trash cans. Guys are running over there. It's throw up. Josh Sitton played for him. These guys know this. Josh Sitton 6'3", 320 in 98-degree Orlando heat playing for George O'Leary. You think that was easy? Every day that's a liability. But these people understand, like Kirk Herbstreit said today even, that the kids know, and we all know, that we don't fear much for our 18 to 21-year-old kids when they go out in public. We fear for the people they're bringing it home to. We fear for the people that get deathly sick when they go to the Thanksgiving with grandmother. And you know what? I do believe, as all these coaches that are saying it, they're safer by staying at school, staying around their players, isolating and making those decisions not to spread it, than going back home to their families. And that's pretty much obvious at this point. So what really are we telling these kids? What is the biggest thing outside of a certain reason, which is the liability that if just one person gets it, that these schools can have $1 billion lawsuit, and it's going to spread, and then it becomes a class action, and then it's not going to take long before people go, If one person knows they're going to get paid a lot, then this thing's going to snowball effect into hundreds of cases. We know how this country works. And the next thing you know, all these presidents that have made these decisions for the coaches and ADs and players are going, well, there goes everything we worked for. There goes our job in our school. And that's the reason, people, why most of these decisions. It all goes back to safety, and we understand that. But the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12, Bob Bowlesby, who spoke many times, who really is not taking an agenda that you would think from a guy that has states like Texas and Oklahoma, he's been the opposite. He's been the first one to be like, we have to be real, real safe. Didn't like Mike Gundy's comments, other ones. He's been the opposite of the guy like, get out there and play football. And these chancellors and these, athletic directors and these people, JP, it's pretty clear. They don't think less of humanity in the Big 12, ACC or SEC than in the Big 10 or the Pac-12. But they believe that we're not listening to the noise. We believe that we can play football, and they've proven that. Leagues are proving that. So it's not going to be easy, and it's going to come down to no matter what we say here today, if teams go out there and test 13 players the first week for Florida, your new team, or Georgia gets 17 players, like that picture of the high schools, that clearly having mass people in hallways back in high school isn't a good thing at all. And all of this happening right now, if that's the case, then the league's going to be canceled. And we sit and go, well, crap, we gave them a chance. Maybe the Big 10 and the Pac-12 saw this coming. We'll completely flip our script if these people cannot get it done. But I believe they can.
Yeah, it comes down to this, like you said, this can all change on a dime. I mean, who the heck knows? And I'm going to say this. Everybody has preached and preached and preached that, okay, let the medical experts speak. Let them speak. Let's listen to them. Okay, well, now the medical experts in the SEC and the ACC have come out and they've said, hey, we can do this. It's tough, but we can do it, and we can do it safely. The players understand that, look, you've heard players like Kylan Hill, Lorenzo Lingard, you've had tons of other players come out. I mean, all over the country. Do your homework on it. And these guys are like, look, I don't want to go back home. All right, I'm safer here. I've got family members back home that are high risk, or I don't have the medical, stuff that I get here. Kylan Hill, his was, to me, very heartbreaking when you talk about, he says, look, people are dying back where I'm at. People are getting shot in the streets and things like that. Like, that's sad to think about, but the majority of these players go through this. The majority of these players are from rough neighborhoods. They are. A lot of these guys that's the awesome thing is that these guys get out of there. They get off the streets and things like that. That's the glorious thing about it all. But, they could go out there the first week and you have test positive once again, and then you're like, all right, well, we gave it our best shot and that's it. You're right. But you never know until you go out there. And the thing is I go back to this. If a player, God forbid, something happened and a player got it and it was tragic, what happens when these players, what about the players that get paralyzed? These guys that have been paralyzed before. Eric LeGrand was at Rutgers, and Ryan Shazier, he got paralyzed. Now he's able to walk again. Obviously, he's better now. He had that severe spine injury. What about the people that die playing football? Like, I'm just saying, like, we ignore that. But there's risk no matter what. You go drive your car around. You can get in a car accident, and God forbid it happens. But there's things that, once again, that MLB player, I think, that tested positive and then found out he had, like, some disease. And they were like, thank goodness we found this now, because the only time we would have ever found this out is when it was too late and we couldn't do anything about it. So what I'm saying in all this is people understand, like, I've heard people preach that we need to listen to these medical experts, but these experts are speaking, and now we're just like, well, they don't know. Now they're just pushing money. That's it.
And one of the things that you just said, I have not heard anybody say, but it's right in front of everybody's face. It's like not being able to find Where's Waldo when he hasn't even hidden in the crowd yet. He's just on the cover in his striped shirt. Like, where is he? Like, has that guy got his eyes checked yet? What we're sitting in front of right there, boom, right there, is something that you brought up that nobody I've heard say anything. If I'm a kid right now, 18 to 21, and we did play college sports, but we played football also, we're probably the best for my team, breaking my collarbone after the third week of practice as an option quarterback. But all of that, what is one thing that most people 18 to 21 will tell you? Austin Reed and these other guys. Most kids will tell you they fear much more of going out there and playing the game of football, but they still do it because it gives them a scholarship. They love the sport with a passion. It gives them drive, something to will to, and they grow up around it. We all love football. But they also know you have a way better chance for some guy coming around the end and crushing you and getting a concussion or breaking your knee or elbow. Almost nobody that's played football for 4 years in college has ever left saying they don't have an injury. I would say zero. Best friend growing up, he played Laurent Robinson, ended up playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Dallas Cowboys. He retired. He has 2 kids, and he was Tony Romo's, one of those guys you pick up for a couple weeks, like Erickson this year for the Bengals, who was going to get you like 7 catches for 90 yards. He was that guy when Des Bryant got hurt. He got a nice contract for about $17 million from the Jags, and he had played in Atlanta, and he had played in St. Louis with 2 domes. And he had 4 concussions already. He was like Jordan Reed, but not getting the headlines because Reed was the number 1 tight end at one point. Well, Laurent, Andrea Kramer in the NFL did a report on him, and he said when he left, he had to cancel. He didn't get the guaranteed money. And when he left, he said that players around the locker room at Jacksonville were like using words that you use for a cat that we can't say appropriate ways, saying things like that because they felt that they couldn't see any injuries. He was walking around. But he said he's got migraines still today. Guy made $16 million. He's got a beautiful house. He's living the dream. He's got a beautiful wife and 2 kids. And he says he can't even take his trash can out. I talked to him still. Not as much, but I talked to him about 5-6 months. He can't even take his trash can out because it hurts so bad from the migraines and his head from the concussions. I think if you asked him on the spot, hey, you're more worried about going back there, he'd be like, man, I can't see right now from that. The injuries that people sustain from football that don't always talk about it, Brett Favre going through 3 different rehab stints that nobody really wants to talk about. Talk about the Jen Sturger picks or his comments to Kaepernick or all the other things. But he went to rehab 3 different times in his life. You don't wake up in the morning and go to rehab unless you have an intervention or you seriously need help. And guess what? Brett Favre, the man, the legend, real comfortable jeans 3 times. We don't talk about this stuff. But football is a game that we know there's a risk every single time you take the field. And guess what? We still take that as a country. We still do that because we know what it is and we have the freedom and the willpower to do it. And right now these kids know the risk. They know the risk to their parents they love and their grandparents and the coaches. And guess what? The coaches and everybody are still saying, let's do this. This was the Big Ten, as JP today on Talk Football with Coach K was listening. Great from all the coaches that you never see this happen, that a coach right after announcements made, not silently, but publicly, immediately go out there to say, guys, we completely disagree with your decision. But these were the coaches from the Big Ten. And JP in order, who do we have here? I believe we have James Franklin.
James Franklin, Ryan Day, and then Scott Frost. And this was obviously this was after the announcement that we all got rumored that the Big Ten was canceled. Now, they haven't made a statement yet that I know of after they officially canceled. But this gives you an idea of where they're at and where they stand on playing this year.
If the Big Ten as a cohesive unit doesn't exist for this season, are you still prepared to try and put together a season of some other sort for your kids who want to play if you are told by medical advisors you trust that it is safe to do so?
Yeah, I have a responsibility to my players and their families to exhaust every opportunity and option that's out there. Yes.
Okay, that's fair. I get it. And then I would ask you as well about the spring, because that's something that keeps coming up here. Things could get pushed back to the spring. Other conferences and other schools are talking about pushing to the spring. In your mind, at one of the prestige and premier programs in the country, what does spring football actually look like, and is it a realistic possibility?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm saying. That's another reason why you delay, because you're coming up with these other models so that when we say, okay, we are playing college football or we aren't playing college football, that now we can list out what the plan is for our future. This is how we're going to do it in the spring. This is why. Even if we push the season back, we have the ability to use the domes in the Big Ten. The weather is a little bit of an issue. So we could use the domes in Detroit, in Minnesota, and Indianapolis and do Big Ten weekends, at those venues from a weather perspective. So we got a bunch of really intelligent people. We got a bunch of creative people. Let's spend the next month coming up with solutions rather than just calling it quits.
That was James Franklin right there. And then Ryan Day.
We were on quarantine. I was honestly
State.
worried about some of their mental health. Now that they've been able to come and practice together and get back together on the field, they look healthy again. They look great, and they really want a chance to play. Now, they want to have a voice. They want to choose, and that's all the information they've been giving me. So I think it's my job as the head coach to advocate for them. But they've done an unbelievable job up to this point, and they just want to keep fighting every day. They want to be together. And they've all shared. They feel like, and this is coming from them, they're safer here in our facility playing football than they would be without it. I'm not the only one to say that. Our Big Ten coaches, when we get on the call, they've all said that they want to play football. And so we want to support our guys the best we can and advocate for them to give them the best chance possible to play.
We want to play a Big Ten schedule. I hope that's what happens. Our university is committed to playing no matter what that looks like and how that looks. We want to play no matter who it is or where it is. So we'll see how those chips fall. We certainly hope it's in the Big Ten. If it isn't, I think we're prepared to look for other options.
And the Nebraska Cornhuskers are one of those teams that you have to think twice about them being in the Big Ten still. You know what I mean? There's a few teams that you're like, really? Like West Virginia still being in the Big 12 and not Big East is the first thing that comes to mind. Yeah. Maryland, my brain goes to ACC. I think of the Maryland-Duke battles. I don't think Big Ten. There's a few schools that are always going to feel that way, So that's the same thing, Missouri in the Big 12 like that, even though they're part of the Brethren now. Of your right there. They're part of your division now.
Yeah,
Missouri and Florida, now that you've claimed that.
Got my orange Gatorade right here.
Yeah, you did cut off Scott Frost. He did say "Go Knights" at the end of that.
No, he did. He's making way too much money to say "Go Knights."
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't blame him. And some people were like, "Man, he's leaving UCF to go to Nebraska." I'm like, "Can you repeat that one more time?" Be like, Nebraska, team that won all those national titles,
Group of 5 to go
100,000 plus. Their stadium is larger than any city in Nebraska when they actually have over 100,000. Like, yeah, that team, yeah, history, Tom Osborne and Tommy Frazier's, and that team, yeah, I would go there too. Don't blame them. Well, it's pretty clear though that the coaches, you never see that in any sports. The people the hands that feed you a lot of money are the ones that are going out there and saying, guys, we completely disagree with what you're doing, because they're not looking. Because at that point, it's not always about the betterment, because they have a lot to lose. If it truly was about like the health risk, if you walked outside and there was 100 lightning bolts, and I was like, hey, no, here's my golf clubs. There's an umbrella too. You don't worry about the top, just the metal part. And just stay there overnight. You're like, this does not seem safe. And then everybody else would be like, you guys back me on that? Be like, hell no, we don't back you. Get away from me, man. I'm not touching this one. You just said that guy. You sent him in the middle. Be calling for help, trying to run you down. So if they truly, it was all about, as everybody goes back, the safety, and it's spreading, then these guys wouldn't come back and be the enemies and defend it.
Yep.
They wouldn't reverse it.
Because you look like an idiot.
Because you look like an idiot. They would all look like idiots if they believed. But we know that's not the case. So quit being that guy saying that. It all goes back to COVID. If you want to say the safety of the players because of COVID, we get that. It is 100% why all these changes. The leagues are not canceling because of some fairy dragon out there. It's happening because of COVID-19. But one thing we do know also is that there's agendas being pushed of why leagues are canceling and others aren't. And there's also reasons financially and liability. Those are the two keys, finances, and liability. Not that they truly in their heart believe that these kids are all going to get sick and die, because it could happen, but let's be real with what this is by now. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola. Cam Walker, Clemson University, will join us when we return right here on the Sports Drive.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is accepting applications for employment. Periodically, we have openings in sales, business, news, promotions, engineering, production, and programming. We'll keep your application for consideration when such an opening occurs. We also provide internships for qualified students. Apply online at ESPNpensacola.com or at our studios at 7251 Plantation Road behind University Town Plaza. ADX Communications is an equal opportunity employer.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
3-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Ferocious flavor has landed at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. It's bold, it's different, it's refreshing, it's dragon fruit. We're using real dragon fruit to blend up our fearsomely flavorful new dragon fruit smoothie. Try one today, paired with a fan favorite Super Green Caesar chicken wrap or a Chipotle Chicken Club flatbread for a powerfully tasty combo. Slay your cravings at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Eat better, feel better.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Down to Georgia, he was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man sawing on a fiddle and playing it hot, and the devil jumped up on a hickory stump and said, "Boy, let me tell you what. I guess you didn't know it."
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. Now joining us here to talk some college football. She joins us each and every Tuesday and Thursday on the show. And from Clemson University, who is still holding on to the hopes and prayers that her school plays college football. It's Cam Walker. Cam, good to see you.
I know. It's good to see you, too.
Yeah, you know, it's during these times where the jobs like this are right when you think. I haven't had a promo that played way too long about, like, thank God this didn't all happen during college football season. And
now here we are.
Yeah, and here we are.
I just feel like we're on this roller coaster, you know, just hanging upside down. I would love to get off.
Well, you know, my school, I wouldn't be that disappointed because if we don't play the season, my Knights have already claimed 5 conference titles.
You know,
so,
who would claim this year's? You know,
well, we would. I already said that. We've already done that.
What
We've
about
already put a patent in.
the number 1 in the APN coaches?
Well,
how about
okay?
Should we claim that?
Hey, look, listen. Why not? People claim things all the time. So I think it's. There's a store actually in Alabama. There's a store that exists in Alabama that sells people's stuff that they get from the airport. I've never heard of it. Have you heard of this stuff?
No.
I've never actually been there, but I've heard of it. So I just said I never heard of it. I'm the one telling the story. But I've never been there. But one thing is, like, to me, doesn't that seem a little like what if you were just like taking a trip down through Mobile or down up to Montgomery and you're going there and you're like, you know what? That's my tote bag. That's my dress for the wedding. I never got.
So they sell stuff that
like has been at airports
okay.
and luggage. I guess there's a certain time you get to claim your items.
Where is the store?
It's in Alabama somewhere.
Okay, Alabama.
But I mean, you think about like
that's hilarious.
Yeah, the overhead on that is you get other people's stuff they paid for, and I don't know how that deal works out
that's
or
very
what deal.
Interesting.
We just played Charlie Daniels. Devil Went Down Georgia. Like I don't know what deal this guy made with the devil, but he's obviously singing a good tune because his overhead is, hey, I get all your crap and get to make money off of it.
That's funny.
So, but
who would have thought that?
Well, that guy did, and he's doing all right, I guess. But the point of that is sometimes, you know, when it comes down to sports and what's going on right now, well, we feel like we were about to come back and we were about to have it all back.
Last week was looking real good.
It was all great. And then Big Ten and the Pac-12 come around, and now that's what we're dealing with right now. And there's really not a perfect answer either, because every day I come up here, the back of my brain, for somebody that for 3.5 months watched my daughter survive at every breath and going through and losing both my grandparents, personally dealing with what they're using right now as myocarditis. As not saying it's a real thing. I went to the ER for it. I saw a cardiologist for 5 straight weeks because of it. These things are serious. But every time I open up and say, hey, guys, I believe the SEC, I believe these coaches in the ACC, I believe we can play football, I feel there's a part of me that somebody out there driving is like, this guy doesn't care about humans. Doesn't care about their grandparents that they're going to. And that's all completely the polar opposite. I do believe 100% of my heart that there is a bigger risk for our grandparents or our parents or the people that they're saying will go home and they could spread it if they're back home and they're hanging out, because they're going to be still going out. If right now, you know, you're doing virtual classes online or anything going on, but you know, Cam, you're living that life right now. I'm speaking as a 35-year-old that didn't have to deal with that. I got to go out to the places like Devaney's and Pounders and remember as many nights as I could going to classes. But you are actually living a life, a structured, good life, getting into broadcast, intelligent, doing the right things. And right now, you have to make choices every single day as a college student. That's what college is. It's becoming an adult. So these kids know real simple. It's like, this is Sesame Street logic to me. If they go out there and they party or they go to these places or go to a kegger or go to that club or go to these places that they're not supposed to go, then they're going to get their team testing positive again. The numbers are going to go up and they're going to lose their season. And they don't want to be that guy.
No, it's all about
down. It's accountability.
Accountability.
And that's what college is becoming an adult. You don't have to, unless you live close. Parents don't do all of your dishes and your clothes and everything, all your laundry, and pay those bills or get a job for the first time or some of these things that happen. Same thing with these kids. If they want to play, if they truly want to play, and now more than ever, the ACC, the SEC, they've seen other leagues cancel. And they know eyes are looking. There is a big number out there, big number of people out there that are going, they're wanting them to fail.
Yeah.
Maybe not people to pass away, but they're wanting numbers to skyrocket. They're going to be the first one to go on Facebook and be like, aha, team's got 25 tests. And you would be like,
awful.
It's awful. It's an awful thing. But there are many people that want this to fail. They wanted Major League Baseball to fail when the Marlins failed for one, and then everybody else moved on. The Cardinals had to miss a few, the Phillies, but they moved on. I believe that with accountability, that this can get done. And let's believe and give these kids hope if they're telling it, and the coaches that are saying we believe in the players, and they're showing that with a pattern.
Dabo today, they kind of had a different kind of practice. They had a team bonding practice.
Oh,
I feel like I
okay.
need that right now. A little moral
a little
support.
team bonding right there.
So that's what they did today. But I just don't understand. I guess it maybe comes down to an opinion by the doctors, but the difference between, because the science is the science. Yes. But what is the difference between, ACC's Dr. Wolf and the Big Ten's?
There's not.
There's
not.
I have so many questions that nobody's going to be able
This
to
is
make
what I
sense
would like
of.
you to do today as part of Dr. Brillante's class, just as much medical advice as Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
Which actually can deteriorate the body more. So the doctor is going to hurt you from a health point. If you,
Okay.
But sorry, people get. But Dr. Cameron Wolf, the Duke infectious disease specialist,
yeah.
Which I'm not going to lie, we all judge things. And if somebody's like, yeah, I was over there at Hampton Inn University. I got my medical GED over here. And you're like, I don't even think that makes any sense. Or the guy goes, I studied infectious disease at Duke. Be like, this guy's off to a good start. Okay, let's see where So Dr. Cameron Wolf sounds like somebody from one of those medical shows right there. Sounds like an ER doctor.
Yeah.
Dr. Cameron Wolf. So Dr. Cameron Wolf has come out and he said that they've learned over the past 6 months how to manage the risk. They've seen teams all around them that have gone from having 20, 30 tests, like Clemson was one of them, to going to having now 0 tests for the last couple weeks, because they're telling the kids flat out, guys, if you continue to go down this path, we're not having football, you're going to lose your scholarship, and you're going to ruin it for the rest of us.
Yeah.
And so they're saying, okay, we're not going to do that. They're being safe. And teams all around them, even the Big Ten, if they would have asked a guy like Jim Harbaugh yesterday, when he came out and said, when we first started, we had 830 tests. We had 13 tests positive. And this is staff, everybody. After that, we had 432 tests the next week. 2 tests positive when they returned. He said after that, we had 363 tests, 0 tests positive, and that's been going strong now for 8 weeks.
Right.
And nobody brought this up, that there are teams. If it was all about the safety of the players and about keeping the numbers down, which some people still believe that, which I hope, that's what we hope people would do it for, then why would we not be sitting down in like some live teleconference on ESPN with Michigan and all the other teams that have 0 right now and have shown a pattern across the board that they've gone from 30 to 10 to 2 to 0 within a 4-week span, and then 8 straight weeks of nothing? Why aren't we asking those answers like you're saying? How can 2 medical doctors with the same degrees telling you in the Pac-12 that it's not safe at all, and then people in the ACC telling us that it's completely safe? Because it doesn't, one is pushing one agenda and the other has a certain agenda to push. And it's so clear and it's confusing. So when you ask that question, how can 2 doctors? They can't, but they are.
Right.
And we know that's what's happening.
One of my favorite things that Dr. Wolf said in an article, he said,
oh, so you know Dr. Wolf?
Oh, yeah. I can call him
please,
up real quick. We'll get him on the show.
You call him CW, right? Yeah, so Cameron Wolf. Yeah, CW.
Cam.
Yeah.
But he said, look at all of the regular injuries that we accept with the risk that comes with football. And now we just have to accept that COVID is now one of them as well. And I was just like, bam, like that's it.
Yes. And this is all, no matter what any of us say, don't we all understand that if the players start to test positive, the league's going to get canceled? Nobody's going to, only the real strong. That's like the last of the line, the one that, last call at 3 a.m. and the guy's still at the bar and like, come on, dude, you got to get up.
Yeah.
And he's still, the lights are on, they're sweeping. There's that smell coming from that one person. And you're like, get up. We got to get him out of here. Somebody call him a cab. And he's like, this is America. And you're like, nobody agrees with this guy. Like, you need to leave, buddy. You need to go home to wherever you are. There are going to be some of those out there for fighting for college football. But the majority of us will sit back, and if the numbers start to spike and kids start to get real ill or coaches get ill, we're going to sit back and go, okay, well, you know what? Maybe we were wrong. Maybe the kids couldn't do it. Now, if it's 1 or 2 kids, that's different because they should be able to understand how to figure that out. But if you're talking about huge numbers like that, we got to be able to look and understand that. And that's the thing is, so no matter what we say today, It's like making score predictions on Friday night for Saturday's games when Lee Corso puts on the headdress and everybody goes crazy. Guess what?
I'm gonna start crying.
Yeah, none of that means anything, though, until the game's played.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you pick because the game's going to be played. And then on Sunday morning, you wake up in those college football shows and they're like, ooh, I was wrong on that one. So it really, your opinions on that are just opinions because the players are the ones that are going to prove it. We do just like them, our job is to do the research, to learn about it, and then make a educated opinion. And then it's going to be up to the coaches and players. So we'll see if it works out, but I believe it can. And I believe that there are still going to be leagues that play, but
I just think it's sad that there wasn't even a chance to see if it would for Big Ten and Pac-12. Like that, the whole point of delaying the start of the season was to observe, regular students coming back and see the numbers to look at them. But, they didn't even give it a chance.
If you never allow your kid to drive at 15, which is scary. My daughter's 4, and she's driving a bicycle with training wheels, and I'm like every moment. But if you never allow your kid at 15 to get to take a driving test and to get a car and to do those things, never do it, then they're always going to be safe. They'll never get in a car accident. They might hate you for life for it, like the Big Ten and the Pac-12 hate you for life for making a lot of the people, the players, coaches, they don't like these decisions. But one thing we do know is that if you do, you're going to take some risks. They might get in accidents. They might not know how to parallel park in a big city, and you just pray that you don't get a bunch of bruises on your back and that somebody's in the car that you hit named Sal in a cab. But at the end of the day, you do that because you know that the only way that we're going to learn from this is if we see it through.
Yeah.
And all this being said, this is not me saying this to say I want people to go out there and get infected and all this. I'm saying that with the logic of saying that these kids are safer to be playing football from a COVID-19 standpoint with the ones they can spread it to their families that are the most important compared to going back home and sending them back out in their neighborhoods. That to me, as all the coaches, Nick Saban said that, Dabo said that, Trevor Lawrence has said that. Kylan Hill's like, I don't want to go back to my neighborhood.
I know
it's full of drugs and violence. I don't want to go back there. Don't send me back there. So
I cannot imagine how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And, in the Big Ten statement, they were like, we're trying to protect the mental health and the physical, of course. But it's kind of ironic because, these players came back to practice. They saw a schedule with dates last week. And now, just a week later, it's canceled. That would screw my mental health up.
And if you're dealing with every situation directly and you came out with schedules and then all of a sudden during that time period, your team numbers went down.
Yeah. Your hopes got
Wouldn't
up.
you be a little confused? Yeah.
Wouldn't
you be a little
I'm
confused?
Speechless sometimes, yeah.
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 It's you save money in a joint account as a family for vacation. You're doing everything. You got a bonus, Christmas bonus, got a raise at work, and you saved enough money, and you finally go, honey, we're ready to go for the trip. Oh, no. We're canceling that. What do you mean? We actually got bonuses and raises, and we have more money for the trip. Nah, we don't want to do it. We're good.
This
is
what
that's
I hope.
What's happening right now.
I hope the ACC, SEC, are full throttle, come together, and kind of prove, hey, look what y'all could have done.
Let's take a phone call here real quick. 850-623-1330. Caller, who's this?
This is Bob.
Hey, Bob, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. I'm sitting here listening to you guys, and it's like, whatever happened to all the flus and all the stuff in the past, the 1H1, the swine flu, and all those other ones? Why were they not as bad, and people were getting just as sick, if not sicker, and dying of the flu? And now we're more scared of this virus than anything else.
Because
that's my question.
Well, and a lot of questions. I wish I could give you I can give you the answer that we're all thinking, and then the answer that people are pushing a certain agenda towards you is because we all know that we all at this point over 4.5 months. I hope we all understand what this is by now, but what this is the biggest reason why college football is not because they truly believe that some kid on the field is going to go out there and that they're all going to start just getting severely sick like one of those movies, that there's some gas in the air. That's 100% not true, because right now, currently, there are 6,800 athletes, and I've done the math, and one guy might have got hurt, but 6,800 athletes from Europe and America right now playing major sports. From all the soccer leagues that have gone on, from all the sports over here, and not one of the 6,800 has been seriously ill at all. Not one of them. Now, some of them have been ill for a couple days with the sweat and the fever and going home. But if it's showing you that older adults that are in their 30s and 40s playing some sports, heck, Tom Brady's 43 and he's ready to play for another team. All of this being said, if 6,800 are showing not any, then it's not about the safety of the kids, and it's not about the safety of them returning back to their families, because if they do that, they're going to spread the disease more if there's no football. And people go, well, that's based on assumption. Yeah, but it's also based on logic of reasoning that a bunch of 20 and 21-year-old kids are not going to go back and sit in their house all day. They're going to get into things that are keeping them away from those things in some bad neighborhoods even, because football gives them that opportunity. I hope we're all not stupid on that. So everything with football, the number one reason, and this is the things they're not going to get from right now ESPN if you turn the dial on with breaking news, the Pac-12 joins the Big Ten, is they're not going to tell you that the biggest reason is because the liability of these presidents and these schools that know if one kid gets it, just one, there's going to be a snowball effect of, hey, class action, and some lawyer is going to come to them and go, hey, guys, anybody that's tested positive or thinks they could test positive, come on over here. We'll make sure to get these results, and there's going to be a $1 billion settlement one day with all of these different leagues, and they're scared out of their boots to do that. That's the only reason.
Right, and that's what I'm good at. Is look at the number of people that have died in the past over just the regular flu compared to what's going on right now. It doesn't seem the numbers don't match. And anyway, it's confusing.
It is, and don't get too much. If you want to listen in here, we've got a voice. As long as we do, somebody from corporate might already be like, take this guy out on the highway on the But as long as we still have a voice, one thing about this show, I've been doing it for 10 years in this market, and lived in Vegas, Boston, Orlando, all over, and seen a lot of different cities and people dealing with a lot of different situations. But I'll always be truthful with what I believe and do the research for you guys as well. And I'm not right. I'm not. Nobody's right now. I'm going to give you an educated opinion that when you're saying why can't we play this because of the flu, don't dive into that and believe what you believe, which is yes, kids can get more severely hurt. I would be more worried about getting concussions or broken necks or having bruised ribs for the rest of my life, taking, they hand people pills and opioids. Brett Favre's been to 3 different rehab stints. He went to rehabilitation 3 times. I'd be more worried about that as a player, about legends getting hurt and concussions, than I would right now as an 18 to 21-year-old kid about dying on the football field from COVID.
I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to hang up and just continue listening to you.
I appreciate it, buddy.
For your response.
Thank you very much. Yeah, guys, when you ask these questions, there's
really no dumb question.
There's no, but
we're all thinking it.
But it's the obvious ones right there, though, that wouldn't we all agree? Whether you're Democrat, Republican, you care less about football, you want nothing to do with football, or you love football, wouldn't it be a reasonable response to go ahead and put the 2 doctors in the Pac-12 and the ACC in one room right now on a show?
Oh, yeah.
And just say, guys, I'm going to ask you this one question. How can you be an expert and you be an expert, but think completely polar opposite? You're telling everybody that it's safe and it's under control, and you're telling people in the exact same time with the exact same kids and the exact same age that it's completely not in control and we got to cancel the league. Can you guys, we'll give you the floor. You guys have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Please set that up.
That's what I'm saying. In 5 minutes, we would, and everybody out there, I'd hope, if you're right now listening to me say that, and you believe that that would be a bad idea, then you've already made your case, and there's no way you're ever going to convince somebody otherwise, because we know that. Mm-hmm. It's like you can believe that the peaceful protests were for a right reason, but also you can say it's a mockery when there was a newspaper article that said 1.5 million people over a week span in L.A. had nothing to do with the numbers going up in L.A. County that made it the highest. They blamed the bars and the churches, but nothing to do with 1.5 million. I got pictures, too. The show's on TV. But for people that say it has nothing to do, those people, they were all wearing masks. I mean, like, first off, no, they're not. I saw. But even if they were, 1.5 million.
Laid it in their head.
But you're telling us, but those same people, a lot of them